Hey, how's it going everyone? Today I'm going to show you the top 5 best pals that you can breed in Palworld. We are talking about some huge numbers here, as well as I'm going to be showing you how to breed them, what you can do in order to get a lot of pal souls, and a bunch of other things in today's video. Now that you know what to expect in this video, if you have yet to subscribe but you're a frequent stopper, you're always on this channel but you're not subscribed, then what you should do is go down below, click the subscribe button, turn the notifications on by clicking the bell icon, and making sure that you're notified for all so that you don't miss a video. With that being said, let's go ahead and dive right into this. We are going to begin by discussing Lifmunk or Lifemunk, depending on which way you want to call it. What you can tell right here is that at the top we are level 50. Then when it comes down to the Lifmunk recoil, we have it at level 3. This way we can increase the damage as well. And if you check down below for the skills, it honestly doesn't matter, but I would honestly choose something with high damage. Solar Blast is good, Seed Machine is great, Power Bomb is just as great, and then we have some passive skills as you can tell down below. We have Musclehead, we have Legend, we have Ferocious, and we have Lucky. What's going to happen here is that most of this stuff is going to increase our attack damage, but some things may increase our defense as well. Next, we want to acquire Bristla. So once you do capture Bristla, you will see on the bottom that it has Princess Gate, and it says, while in team, increase attack power of grass pals. This means if we do this correctly and we put a bunch on our team or our party, we should be able to increase the damage of Lifemunk. And we also want to have the saddle so that we can throw it on top of her head. It might be a glove, but I honestly cannot remember at the current moment. All you need to do is summon down your Lifemunk and then throw it on your head and watch the damage numbers just go nuts. It's insane. It was fun to breed, but definitely a struggle because, you know, you do have those chances of not acquiring the passive that you want, which can be just a huge downer. Continuing on towards number 2, we have Tocotoco. That is currently at level 50, and if we check down below, we have Egg Bomb Launcher at level 4. What this partner skill allows us to do is equip Tocotoco to our arms and send out eggs. If you check down below for the active skills, I only have Megaton Implode active only, which by the way, feel free to use whatever you want. Personally, what I recommend is Implode, and I also recommend that you use the Egg Launcher partner ability first. This way you can apply a lot of damage there, and then when it comes down to exploding, you can allow Tocotoco to do the rest. And as for the passives, I tried my best to acquire the same exact passives as previously just by, you know, breeding different pals and doing all that, you know, tiresome stuff. It's fun, don't get me wrong, but it can be quite tiresome after a bit when you have, you know, breeded like over 300, 500, 1,000 eggs. It's ridiculous. Anyways, what I like to do with Tocotoco is use the egg launcher first and see if I can take out the boss that way. If all else fails, then I'll just have Tocotoco go out and use Implode. Typically, I can take out the boss with the egg launcher, yet worst case scenario, the best option is to allow Implode to do the rest. I mean, at least that's what I've been doing. Also, to increase your damage, do not make the mistake of not consuming food, because certain food types will increase your defense, speed, and even your attack. Now, as I mentioned earlier, if you cannot finish off the boss with Tocotoco's egg launcher, what you can do instead is allow him to use Implode. That's what I did right here, and you can tell that this boss has no option but to run or to just, you know, face the explosion, and that's exactly what this pal did. Side note, if you have a pal that can increase Tocotoco's damage, you can definitely do that as well. Moving along here, we're going to talk about the third pal, which is going to be Gorirat, which by the way, that's my best way of pronouncing it. I'm not too sure if that's the correct way, but it does sound correct. But let's go ahead and talk about the stats and all of this. What I've done is actually leveled up this Gorirat to a pretty high level there, level 50. We also have the partner skill full power gorilla mode at level 3. Then for the active skills, I have Megaton Implode, Power Blast, and Power Bomb. Now what I recommend is the same situation here with Tocotoco, is that I would just leave Implode by itself, but feel free to try whichever, you know, skills you want to try out. And speaking of skills, let's talk about passives. I have Celestial Emperor, and this right here is great, but if you cannot get this, you can try something like Lucky. We also have Rib Bunny, which is great because this is going to increase our damage. As you can tell right here, it says Skilled Fingers. The only way that this works is if you do have Rib Bunny or multiple of them in your party and you are at your base. This is the only way that it's going to increase your neutral damage. So it's best to use this at your base. But let's say that you do not want to do that and you want to free up your party, right? Because you probably have a flying type that you would like to use. You can actually use this pal by itself. You do not need Rib Bunny. Continuing on towards number 4, we are going to take a look at Shadowbeak. As you can tell right here, I have it at level 50. And for the modified DNA, it's at level 1. You do not need it at level 2 or level 3. You can just stick with the default option there. For the active skills, I recommend Spirit Flame, Nightmare Ball, and Divine Disaster. Great skills there. For passives, we have Musclehead, we have Legend, and then if you take a look at the left side, we have a Lord of the Underworld. This right here is specifically going to increase your dark damage, and if you would like to, you can use whatever skill that you can possibly pass down. This one I was able to pass down, so I decided to try this one out instead. Now, to increase your damage more, I recommend Who Crates, because when you do have Who Crates in your team or in your party, if you have multiple ones, it will stack the damage. The partner skill is going to help out quite a lot because it's going to increase your dark damage as well when it comes down to the other things that you have in your passives, like Dark Underworld will also increase your dark damage. Okay, so now we're going to move on and talk about how you can breed the proper pals. Like, how can you breed the correct pal? What I recommend is heading over to palworld.gg. There's going to be a few options here, you know. So yeah, the Divine Disaster is one of my favorite skills because of just how powerful it is. And I took out Zoe fairly quick, which is exactly what I did to this boss as well. What I recommend is that you definitely try to breed a powerful Shadowbeak because the damage can go as high as to 3,000. It's insane, especially if you consume some food that does give some sort of benefits, whether it's speed, defense, or attack. And obviously we need to raise the attack damage, so what we'll do is consume a food type that raises the power type. Alrighty, heading on over towards the last and final pal. This is going to be Frostallion. What I love about Frostallion is that you do have the ability to freeze pals, and I do have this one at level 50 with a level 3 Ice Steed. The cool thing about Frostallion's partner skill is that it will turn your attacks into frozen attacks if you use like a weapon of some sort, or on the other hand, if you're on the pal, you can use some of its skills and enhance the frost attacks as well. Also, try to acquire Ice Emperor because this is going to increase your ice attacks. As well as you want to increase your ice some more, you can acquire a Foxicle. If you have a Foxicle on your team or in your party, it's going to increase your ice attacks by a lot. What we have so far is we have Ice Emperor, we have Foxicle, so both of those are going to increase our ice damage. And on top of that, when you are consuming some food, like, I don't know, whichever one increases your attack damage, I cannot remember at the current moment, but if you use that with this, it's going to help out a lot when it comes down to the overall damage. Without a doubt, Frostallion is one of my favorite pals, but I'm interested in what your favorite pal is, and also let me know how high your damage is for your pal. I'm interested, so let me know down below in the comments. Okay, so now we're going to move on and talk about how you can breed the proper pals. Like, how can you breed the correct pal? What I recommend is heading over to palworld.gg. There's going to be a few options here. You know, you'll have a map option, and you're also going to have another option, which is going to be sort of like a pal calculator to kind of determine what pal you're going to receive when you throw two pals together. For example, right here, you can tell that we have as a child and as a parent, so make sure that you are aware of which one you're clicking so that you can properly breed the right pal. What I'm going to do is breed a Shadowbeak. The only way to do this is I will need two different pals, which will be Astagan and Kitsun. What you want to pay attention to is the passive skills. You want to have two of the pals that you want to combine those skills together, and hopefully you will be able to acquire 4 of the passive skills that you really want to acquire. So I do know that Kitsun and Astagan will create a Shadowbeak because of the calculator and Palworld.gg, which I recommend going over there and trying it out. But overall, grab the two pals and throw them into the breeding pit here. I'm going to throw the Astagan and then I'll throw Kitsun next. Both of these pals have some really awesome passives, but I do want them to be passed down so that I can have at least 4 of them. If you end up with 3, that does happen, but try your best and make sure that you throw in some cake as well. If you do not have any cake, you can craft this with a cook pot, but you cannot use a fire pit, so if you try to make some cake over in the fire pit, it's not going to work. And also, while you're at it, you should cook some food that's going to increase your attack damage. This way you'll have some cake, and you'll also have some increased attack damage as well whenever you do decide to consume the food. There are different ones like I mentioned previously. You have speed, you have defense, you have attack, and you have some other things there as well. Once you see that the egg has popped up, make sure that you have something to heat up the egg incubator, and we're going to go ahead and grab that dark egg. For yourself, you might have a completely different egg. It just depends on what pals you have bred. Then we're going to go over here and throw the dark egg inside the incubator and wait it out. Once it's done, go up to the incubator, hold down the F button or whichever button it is for you. And if done correctly, you should receive the stuff that you want. Okay, right there, I did not receive the one that I wanted. And I'll try again and see what I get this time. Okay, a little bit better. Here's the thing. It's probably going to take you multiple times until you're able to acquire the passives that you want. And for right here, these are not bad passives, the 2 that I got. I was able to breed and pass down some of those traits to the other pals. Alrighty then, last but not least, I do want to talk about one more thing here, because let's say you have breeded the correct pal, you have the right stats, the right passives, all that good stuff. But you also will need some PAL souls. So how do you acquire that? What I did was I uploaded a glitch a couple of days ago, and I suggest using this right now. What you do is you head over towards the crafting bench, and you want to craft a meat cleaver. You are going to go up towards your pal, and you're going to choose the butcher option. When it comes down to the second strike, you will see a delay because it does take some time for your pal to disappear. What you do at this point is then mount on top of your pal. If done correctly, you should see that the pal is still alive, and you will receive some material. This is great for just pretty much acquiring enough material to either craft an object, an item, pretty much anything that you really need to craft. For example, in this case, I was able to receive a PAL soul. You can do this with pretty much any pal that you can mount. Feel free to try out some different things. Let me know how it goes. If you guys have any questions about today's video or a previous video, definitely ask down below. Thank you all for the support, and I'll see you all in the next video.